Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley, to Leader of the Opposition, Anthony Albanese, who joined us here today. Good to see you. To Danielle Roach, the Chair of the National Australia Day Council, to Carly Brand, the CEO, my ministerial colleagues, Minister Colbeck and Assistant Minister Morton, to our Australians of the Year, to Grace, to Isabel, to, of course, Rosemary and Murray Rose. You express Australia like none I can imagine, and I'm so proud of you being here with us today. But to Australians all, one and free, I start today by acknowledging the Ngunnawal people, and I thank you for the welcome to country today. I pay my respects, and of all Australians, to your elders past, to present, and emerging for the future. And I acknowledge all those who have served and are serving today our nation in our Defence Forces, and to say to you, thank you for your service. As Australians, our fates have always been bound together. During this past year, we have been reminded once again of our shared fortunes, how much we indeed depend on each other. In a year where much of the world has struggled under the strain of the global pandemic, Australians together have prevailed in our own Australian way. Australians patiently doing the right thing, health workers collecting samples and tracing the virus, nurses, aged and disability care workers tending to our elderly and to our vulnerable, the medical teams, our Defence Forces, our police running our quarantine facilities, the farmers and the truck drivers, the wholesale and the retail workers keeping our supermarket shelves stocked, and all those even now working on producing our vaccine. And of course, the many business owners of Australia, small and large, struggling with the uncertainty of a pandemic, keeping their show together and keeping Australians in work. On this Australia Day, we say thank you to the many who have once again pulled Australia through. But you know, this is not a new experience for our country. From whatever our beginnings and our circumstances, Australians have always demonstrated our ability to overcome, to rise above, to better our history, to create our future. Today on Australia Day, we reflect on that journey, the price that has been paid for our freedom, the lessons of our history, and the privilege of being able to call ourselves Australians. We do it on this day when the course of this land changed forever. There is no escaping or cancelling that fact. For better or worse, and worse, it was the moment where the journey to our modern Australia began. And it is this continuing Australian journey that we recognise today. Our stories since that day have been of sorrow and of joy, of loss and redemption, of failure and of success. We are now a nation of more than 25 million stories, all important, all unique, and all to be respected. Whether it is the story of our First Nations people's strong, ancient and proud culture and their survival in the face of dispossession and colonisation, or the forsaken souls who came as convicts, not to start a new world, but because they had been banished from the old one, condemned and outcast by empire. They too overcame. The settlers and waves of immigrants who have followed, seeking a better life for themselves and their families, creating a nation in the process, including the 12,000 people from over 130 nations who become citizens today. These stories don't compete with each other. They simply coexist. They weave together to create Australia. Today we reflect on how far we've come, but importantly, we humbly acknowledge the work still ahead of us. We have risen above our brutal beginnings. We have overcome, survived and thrived. We have learned, but yet we are still learning. And as the many peoples of the world joined our journey, we have become stronger. The most successful and cohesive immigration and multicultural nation on earth. The home of the world's oldest living human culture. A modern, prosperous and generous nation, fair-minded, hard-working. A standard bearer for liberal democracy in a world where authoritarianism is once again seeking to push itself forward. An honest nation that continues to confront the truth of our past and to reconcile this with our future. Much to appreciate and to be thankful for. And this year, we will face more challenges. But it is Australian to be optimistic and to look forward. It is a choice we make to believe in hope. Our optimism has always enabled us to push past the adversities we have faced and overcome. We have made extraordinary gains. These extraordinary gains by the extraordinary contributions of ordinary Australians. In 2021, we will be relying once again on all Australians to be at their best, to once again exercise their responsibility and make their own unique contributions to our success. In our families, in our communities, in our places of work and education and of worship, and in our environment, caring for our country. The exercise of these responsibilities and contributions are the ones that will continue to make for a successful and resilient Australia. We do this because in Australia we believe in the unique value of each Australian as individuals, rather than seeing or indeed allowing ourselves to be defined solely through the identity prism of our age or our race or our gender, our ethnicity or our religion. As Australians, we are more than any and all of these things, and together we share and steward our Australian inheritance. As Australians, we write our own story, we create our own future, and we will do so again this year together. Happy Australia Day. Now, as a requirement of the Australian Citizenship Act of 2007, I will now read the preamble. Australian citizenship represents full and formal membership of the community of the Commonwealth of Australia. And Australian citizenship is a common bond involving reciprocal rights and obligations uniting all Australians while respecting their diversity. Persons on whom Australian citizenship is conferred enjoy the rights and undertake to accept these obligations by pledging loyalty to Australia and its people, and by sharing their democratic beliefs and respecting their rights and liberties, and by upholding and obeying the laws of Australia. I would now like to call on candidates who have indicated they wish to make pledge number 1, on which is the pledge containing the words "under God to stand." If you wish to make that pledge on a holy book, please hold it in your hands now. And please repeat after me, line by line, this pledge. From this time forward, under God.
From this time forward, under God.
I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people.
I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people.
Whose democratic beliefs I share.
Whose democratic beliefs I share.
Whose rights and liberties I respect.
Whose rights and liberties I respect.
And whose laws I will uphold and obey.
And whose laws I will uphold and obey.
Congratulations. Welcome. I would now like to call on candidates who have indicated they wish to make pledge number 2 to stand, if you're able, and repeat after me, line by line, this pledge. From this time forward, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. Congratulations and welcome.